Mississippi. Nothing fancy, testing the Fenix TA30 light. Let's go see what kind of critters we can find out here. Let's spot some right there. Where do you go? Little spider. Mr. Spider, where'd you go? I think I kind of overdid my testing protocol with these Fenix lights, the TA30 and the TA21. Hi everybody, Nothing Fancy here. Flashlight review coming at you. And yes, I overdid it. 7 months of testing. I probably should have just put in a month or two and I would have had all the data points I needed. But I just got carried away, dudes. I had to take these lights everywhere I went on all kinds of adventures. From the swamps of Mississippi to the mountains of California, Utah, and Colorado, on into the depths even of Lake Mead. That's right. Using them kind of like a pseudo dive light. I've really tested these Fenix lights. One, for my own data points. I wanted to know how they would function, if they are indeed as good as I suspected they are. And here's the short answer. Yes, they are. The TA21, TA30 are outstanding light choices from Fenix. Again, there's my talking points lurking in the background as I do a flashlight review a la Nothing Fancy style. It's going to be thorough. I'm going to cover lots of data points, the ones that I have revealed in my testing, giving you the potential buyer, whether you're Leo, military or civilian sheepdog. If you need a good full-size light, here comes 2 good choices for you right now. Let's jump into it. First off, size and weight. And let me back up just 1 second. I actually kind of debated, do I do these separately? Do a TA30 review, do a TA21 review? In a way, I kind of wanted to, because I have so much footage of the tests between these 2 lights. I would like to kind of roll it into their separate reviews. But actually, it doesn't make a lot of sense. They're very similar, and they function in a very similar manner. The UI or user interface is almost identical. So I'm just going to roll them into one review, and you, the potential buyer, can pick which light for your own POU or philosophy of use is going to work best. Okay, on to size and weight. And again, I don't promise to cover everything. I may jump around in the talking points. You guys know how Nothing Fancy works. I'll do the absolute best I can, giving you awesome data. And as long as you guys keep digging the vids with good ratings, I keep making them. If those go away, so do the videos. TA30. This is a full-size light. I call it a full-size because, it fits in your hand like a full-size light. A full-size light might be along the order of, a mag light or something. With these new LED technologies, which I covered in my video, you see there in annotation, the lights are much more compact than those mag lights. But still, when I say a full-size light, my comparison is perhaps an EDC light, maybe along the lines of my previously reviewed and still outstanding Fenix LD20, or its predecessor, the L2D. Both have been reviewed in the Nothing Fancy project. Outstanding, all-around AA lights. In other words, they use 2 AA cells, and they're excellent. This, to me, is a more compact EDC light. The ones in the background don't fall into that category. They are full-size lights meant for maybe higher power lighting requirements. Size and weight on, well, you can see the size. The weight on the TA30, knocked that out, 9.4 ounces. And that's running rechargeable lithium-ion cells. I'll get to those here in a little bit. But it's not a lightweight light. Okay, in the background, the TA21, a little bit lighter, 7.2 ounces. Okay, and then another Fenix light that I might use in the review, just here and there, the Fenix TK10. I haven't knocked a review out on that yet. I might later on, but I'll compare and contrast some of the features, capabilities of these lights as we go. This one is lighter, 6.2 ounces, 6.2, 7.2, 9.4. Remember, like I always say, whether I'm doing a knife review, a tactical gear review, a gun review, I don't mind extra weight as long as it gets me or gives me something in return. With these Fenix lights, you're going to get more in return. And what you're going to get is firepower, baby. Okay, you're going to get brightness that you cannot achieve with other power cells like AA batteries, and you're going to get a longer runtime too. So when we discuss size and weight, then perhaps we need to consider what kind of lighting capabilities we're after. If we're more around, you know, EDC lighting capabilities around 120 lumens or so, and again, I'm ballparking that, these lights are outstanding. They'll serve just fine. If you need to throw the beam further, okay, and jumping ahead into versatility talking point, maybe you need a search and rescue function in your light. These are the lights you might want to be looking at. And it's good to have a separate tactical light with you in lots of different POUs, whether you're a cop, military dude, hunter, outdoorsman, whatever. So they are bulkier. They're not, I don't know if I would consider this a clippable light to my pocket. Okay, that's just me. It's a little bit bulky. I'm going to show you some holster options that you could use, and I think these lights are holster lights because they're a little bit heavier, and more importantly, they're bulkier. Then we get on to the crenellated or strike bezel that you see here. That may not be the best bezel to be tucking in your old pants because they'll shred it. Okay, another reason to have a holster. So they're not super light, but they are super capable. We're going to talk about that. How about the construction? Well, these lights are different in their user interface. Okay, and I'm kind of jumping ahead to ergos here. They don't operate in traditional Fenix form. And I will use the L2D very briefly to show you what I'm talking about. Remember, with a normal Fenix light, we have two rotational positions on the emitter head, this portion here. So we can go a little bit to the right or clockwise from that direction, turn on the light, and then we tap the back of the switch to access different modes and different brightness levels. Okay, on into the strobe, and then if we rotate the bezel to the left, we go into turbo mode, tap again, or actually strobe. That's a normal Fenix UI, right? You guys know that. These are different. Instead of having a tap rear switch, the TA21 and the TA30 actually have a mechanical rotating bezel. They still come on the same way with a push forward clicky switch like that, and then we can access different brightness levels with a rotating mechanical bezel. And the reason I'm bringing this up now, because it drives to the heart of how these lights are constructed, and maybe some reservations some users might have. Another reason that me, Nut and Fancy's tested them so much. That is a different UI, user interface to access to brightness levels. Again, jumping a little bit ahead in ergos, the upside to this that I found in my testing for both lights, because both lights use the same UI. Okay, this has a rotating mechanical bezel. This one here has 12 different positions, 3 lighting levels, and 3 flashing modes, which we'll discuss. The TA30 is limited. It's going to have 3 brightness levels and a strobe mode, and that's it. Okay, and it rotates a 90-degree arc. This is 360-degree rotatable, this one, the mechanical bezel. The upside is it's very tactile. You get great feedback on these Fenix lights when you actuate them. This is a very good thing in noisy environments because you just don't hear it, you feel it when you actuate the light. There's some others that I really like the night cores, that perhaps don't have that tactile feedback. You also get it when you access different lighting levels in the mechanical bezel because you can feel it and hear it when you rotate it. That's good. Downside, and there's always a downside, isn't there? Always. You need 2 hands to do it. Where the UI on a regular Fenix light, like this one right here, is 1 hand, you know, capable, not so much on the TA21, TA30. You're going to need 2 hands for that. That is a disadvantage, and I did find that in my testing. There were times that, you know, I was carrying gear, doing some type of task in the woods or in the water, and I only had 1 hand, and I really wished that I could rotate it. There is a way you can do it. You can kind of, see how I'm doing that? You can do it that way and kind of game it. And I was actually getting fairly proficient in that. and then coming back here and turn it on or off, whatever you need to. So in a way, you can do it with one hand, but to do it quickly, two hands is best. The question is that mechanical bezel waterproof? And that was my question as well, and I wondered that. Even though this is waterproof to IPX-8 standards, we've talked about that in my other flashlight vids. You'll see in the sidebar exactly what that means. I wanted to find out because I don't want, time go by, since this is kind of a newer UI, at least for Fenix, and there's going to be double O-rings probably in that bezel. Will it, effectively impede the ingress of water into the flashlight body? Again, short answer is yes, it will. Okay, with the TA21 and the TA30, I dove to 20 feet depth of water and tested it. Actually, I just dropped the light to the bottom of Lake Mead where I was. It was about 20 feet, maybe a little bit deeper. All I know is it started getting dark as I went deeper in the water. I wish I had video. I got a couple pictures, as you'll see, but I didn't. My battery died on my camera, so I didn't get video of it. But rest assured, both lights for about 20 minutes submerged at that depth, 100% waterproof. And I spent time actuating everything in the light, both the clicky switch, of course, and also the bezel, or the ring, the mechanical dimmer ring. I guess that's probably the proper terminology on this. Underwater, no leakage whatsoever. I did note, however, that in the sandy water of Lake Mead, I did get a little bit of grit in that dimmer ring. A little bit. And then I flushed it out with some semi-high pressure water and it seemed to leave. Okay, and I gotta reveal this to you too. This is not the TA21 I dove with. I actually lost that light. I know. It's crazy. I don't know where it is. This is a replacement light for my buddy. I'm laughing because it just bugs me. I can't find that light. I think I took it to my military job and had it in a bag, and I'm still looking. I think it's going to crop up. So that is the other light I dove with. This TA30 right here, though, is the one I dove with. The exact one, and the same one that went down into the swamps of Mississippi. It's gone everywhere. So heavily tested, this very TA30, TA21, the one that ran through most of the tests, is MIA. Hopefully it'll show up. So very waterproof. Also, I did my standard net and fancy barrel testing. That's fun, where I just take the light and take it into the bottom of my flashlight barrel I constructed. I think I showed you guys that with the Fenix LD20 review. Swished it around. I think I left it in there for a long time. Of course, no water coming in at all. So getting back to construction, waterproof, you betcha. How about the other specifics? And I need to crank because there's a lot to talk about. Talked about the strike bezel already. This is kind of a controversial feature. Some guys love it, some guys don't. I think mostly civilian dudes do not dig it so much. They think it kind of gets in the way. They don't really envision the POU of a light as being an impact tool. I differ. Okay, maybe it's my sheepdog coming out of me, but I always like having additional capabilities as long as they're not obnoxious, integrated into whatever device. The device here is a lighting product. But now that I have a strike bezel, it's also a very effective impact tool. You go on a thigh with that, bam, just like I've talked about before, maybe other parts of a bad guy body. Yeah, it's going to put the hurt on them. TA30 even more so. It has more mass. It's easier to hold. You got a lot of gripping surface area with good, not outstanding, but good knurling on the flashlight body. By the way, these are 7075 series aluminum bodies, so well made there. I like the strike bezel. Some guys may not. If you carry it in the pouches I'm going to show you, it's not going to be an issue. Notice the heads as we're talking about construction moving aft. This is a little bit confusing on the TA21. These rings right here that you see machined into the flashlight body, indentations here, as far as I know, those are heat sinks. In other words, trying to dissipate the heat that's going to come off that emitter head for the Cree XRR Q5 LEDs, which are very bright, very efficient, awesome, but they create heat. Those are heat sinks. And then as you come down here, there's your dimmer ring. I found in use, especially with gloves, it's easy to confuse this region of the flashlight. You might think in the heat of the moment that that's your dimmer ring. It's not, or maybe back here. It's somewhat difficult to find. The more you use your TA21 or the TA30, the better you're going to get at it. The TA30 has a few of those issues too, to be honest. Is the dimmer ring here? No. Is it here? No, it's back here. Oh yeah, it's got indentations to help you find it there. So that's good. But just to, be advised. Both are tapered mid-body. In other words, they don't retain the full thickness. They taper down, so it's maybe easier to hold in what some dudes call the cigar hold with a gun or something like that. I generally don't prefer that grip myself, but I like having it as trim and compact as possible. TA30, TA21, get it done. And then you can see the TA21 has a very sturdy clip to it. They don't provide a clip with a TA30. Okay, maybe jumping ahead in ergonomics. Because it's too big. This is not a pocket light, and that's what Fenix is telling you when it comes in the package and they don't include a clip with it. TA21 is a pocket light. That's the POU of it. Also, you have, you know, an anti-rotating ring right here too. Whatever that's called, I forget. I'll annotate it. But that's on there too. It is removable. I like to leave it on though because it really locks that pocket clip down and also makes it so it doesn't roll off quite as easily from tabletop. TA30, not so much on the aft end there. Time to roll in the Fenix TK10 for just a little bit comparison. As we go aft on this light, we notice that there is also a clicky switch, but it is exposed, and that is a disadvantage, in my opinion, on the TK10. And this was during one of my night shoots I discovered this. I had this in a pistol pouch, and it was all by itself coming on. It was getting bumped since that switch is exposed, and here it was walking around with a light showing. In a tactical environment, if you're a soldier, that could be a very bad thing, right? So I was glad to see the TA21, TA30 don't have those problems. It's a recessed clicky switch. You can stand it up lantern style if you want to as well. It's flat, maybe not super stable, but doable. Like that. Notice I put my own lanyard on this TA21, so I've kind of ruined that capability. But, you know, I could get it back if I wanted to. I love the recessed switches on them. Also, notice you also have maybe a strike capability there too. Now, let me be real too. You don't need, you know, a strike bezel with the crenellations here for it to be effective. Okay, as an impact tool, even if it did not have that, it would be effective. That you could smack someone and do an impact force on them, much like an ass baton in the closed position, and yeah, it'll put the hurt on somebody. Overall though, getting back to construction, they're tough, they're waterproof. The threads on the backside, anodized. Okay, they're clean, they seem like they just engage very easily. They're easy to screw on, screw off, tough. How's the anodizing on them? Pretty good. You can see I've got a few nicks on the TA30. But keep in mind, this thing was exposed to a fair amount of rock use, and again, those are just badges of honor. I'm pretty happy with it though, as far as, you know, the durability goes. Ergos we've kind of talked about a lot. I like the click switch in the back. I like the thinness through the body here. I love this clip, by the way. It is very functional. You know, you may not like the thickness of the emitter head right here, but some guys will, and the clip is a nice option to include in the package. Let me jump back to the construction talking point. I forgot to tell you something. Fenix bills both of these lights as highly impact resistant, as you can see on the box. One reason why, as we unscrew the tail cap on the TA21 and look down inside, we can see in there two nested, what they call recoil absorbing springs. Now all flashlights are going to have this. I guess these are stiffer and more capable, at least when the light is subjected to recoil in a longitudinal axis, in other words this way, kind of like you would have when it's mounted on a weapon. And that will drive to the point, do I think these are weapon lights? My answer, this is just me, nothing fancy, my data point is no. They're too big. They're at the very lightest 7.2 ounces for this one, 9.4 for that. Maybe a little bit of variances depending on what type of cells you're going to be using. To me, that's not a lightweight light. My weapon lights, and this is kind of a deviation, sorry, it's going to take a little time, are along the order of, I don't know, Streamlight TL2. Oh, like this one, fresh from the Nut and Fancy Duracoating shop. There's a reason for it. You will see this light again mounted on a certain gun. There is a reason why it's wearing that color. Very cool color. But this is a 4.2, 4.4 ounce light, if I'm not mistaken. Effective, does it throw as far as these? No, it won't. Firepower versus mobility, pick your poison. If you want more weight, then go ahead and strap one of these or a light like it to your gun and pay the price. And the price is going to be a slower swing weight for sure. No doubt if you're willing to take the weight, and I don't know what your POU would be on your gun. Again, I'm talking to dudes that are using these as weapon lights. I know a lot of you guys will not. You just want an all-around light. But for those of you who are interested, they're capable. I mean, these things can throw. And one reason is the reflector. Again, this is another construction feature I didn't mention until now. They both have identical reflectors. Okay, they kind of have a shallow orange peel texturing to them, as a lot of guys call them. You can see the Cree LEDs, you know, set pretty concentrically, I would say, in the reflector, deep in there. And they throw pretty darn good. Now, I don't know about 200 meters. You know, that's what it's saying on the box, that these things can go out to 200 meters. No. It depends on what you define as usable light, dudes. For me, I call these about 100 meter lights. Again, if that's not sufficient for you, then go ahead and get ready to pay a lot more money and take a lot more weight, and your mitter head is going to get a lot bigger. It's going to get wider and deeper, because that is what current technology has us doing, at least as of the end of 2009, in order to really, no kidding, get out to 200 meters. Usable light to 100 meters? Yes, both of these lights will do it, and I've proven that myself. More effective to ride around 75 meters. Okay, and that'll bring us to the brightness and throw talking point. Man, I'm just going to go long. I need to get going. TA21. Let me go through the modes real quick. I don't even know what mode this is in. Turn that down. Looks like high. Okay, 9 brightness levels. Let me make sure that's what I'm in. Okay, that's high right there. I'm going to go through these quick. Stay with me. Again, you can find the information on Fenix's website if you need to, or any of the quality flashlight selling websites. 225 lumens, 195, 160, 120, 80. Hear that nice tactile click as we rotate it around. 50, 35, 18, and here comes a huge selling point for both of these lights, the low mode. Let me make sure I'm all the way low. I am. Okay, the low mode in the TA21 is advertised at 4 lumens. The TA30 has that same mode. Let me grab it right here. They advertise that one at 9 lumens. As I use these lights more and more in the out of doors, especially as I do my night hikes out, I find these low modes are extremely useful because you have night vision. Your eyes are adapted to night. I kind of wish they would even go lower. And a good example of that are the excellent Nightcore series. With their ramping capabilities, they can go very low, and again, that preserves your night vision without having to throw on a red lens. Very advantageous. Usually when we're talking about flashlights, everyone's bragging about, well, how bright does it go? What we need to be thinking about is the versatility. How low does it go too? Especially if you're in the out of doors with no other external lighting. Very advantageous. Okay, then we can go to the other flashing modes. Okay, there's our SOS mode. Then we come to the beacon mode. That's kind of cool. That's kind of well, beacon. Then you go to your strobe mode. Good for vehicle safety, like I showed you on the Zooter or bicycle or whatever type of vehicle you're going. You know, does it have a tactical application? I don't know, it just depends. This one's bright though. This is a TA21 strobe mode you're looking at. TA30 also has it. Remember, the TA30 though is not as versatile. We only have 3 brightness levels in a strobe mode. So there's 9 lumens. Then we go to medium, that's 60 for the TA30. High, 225, same as the TA21. Then we go right into the strobe mode. I like having a strobe mode. I don't use it frequently, but it's kind of nice to have. Which UI do I like better? They're both excellent. And you know, maybe some guys will say, is that enough brightness levels for you from the TA30? Just depends. Generally, the answer will be yes. I don't know if you need 9 levels of illumination. I generally use my lowest, my highest, and once in a while I use my mid brightness level. The beam, as you can see, and I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, dudes, because there's lots of testing out there that you can access that do a lot better job at it than I do. But the beam is very concentric, has a nice tight center beam, good spill beam. There's really few artifacts in both of these lights. There are some. I find at the higher brightness levels, it seems like the LEDs trend towards a cooler blue. Then as you ratchet it down, and this just might be the way I perceive it, they seem like they go just slightly green, but I could be wrong on that. But very effective. And what you want in a light of this capability, something that has more throw, is I do want a tighter and more concentric hotspot, as it's called. And both the TA21, TA30 have that. Going down the talking points, on to burn times. This is a very, or could be a very data intensive thing for every flashlight review I do. And I'm going to kind of back off on it, and here's why. Because I think whatever burn time we're talking about is so highly variable according to the cell, the health of the cell we're using, temperature, and other variables, that in a lot of ways it's kind of academic. Now, once in a while I'll just go ahead and spit out the manufacturer's stated run time, so that's the easiest way to do it for me. No, I won't test these. I'll never have time to test all the burn times with all the other gear things that I review. Forget about it. If you guys are really interested in burn times and you want the exact science of burn times, then maybe run on over to Candle Power Forums. There's dudes over there that spend a lot of time fragging out each flashlight model, and you can probably find that information you're looking for. I will say this though, the TA21 with its 4 lumen setting is very nice to have again. Yes, for the low, perhaps night vision saving illumination level, but also for burn times. Now, Fenix tells us 7 days with fresh batteries on the 4 lumen setting. With the TA30, they're saying at the 9 lumen level, 115 hours. Medium, 25 hours. High at 225 lumens. Fresh batteries, Fenix says 3.5 hours. Something along those lines, a little bit less for the TA21. Again, those are very optimistic in my opinion. The burn times as stated by the manufacturer are kind of out to lunch in my experience. As I get more and more use with all these lights, and they are outstanding, but the burn times are not going to be what is advertised. You're going to get less. So just keep that in mind. Always have extra batteries with you because they're going to fail you at the worst possible time. Okay, this TA21, as you saw, is running Streamlight 123 cells. And again, these lights, both the TA21, TA30, are 123 size cells, which is a more capable, more reliable power source in my opinion. This one, however, is not using disposable cells. It's using rechargeable lithium ion with IC protection built in to the battery. This particular one is a 17670 cell paired to a 123 cell. Okay, and they work great. They're going to give you a longer run time, very cost effective. You can see that sand eking its way in there. Not into the light, but you can just see it. I didn't clean it all the way. But those lithium ion rechargeable cells are excellent companions for both of these lights, especially if this is going to be a high use light for you dudes. Okay, you're going to be using it all the time. If it's a duty light, a search and rescue light, which I think they will excel at. I'll just say that again in versatility. Great choices. Modes and user interface. I think we talked about it because they kind of go hand in hand with brightness levels when we talk about it. Again, I don't mind the two-handed operation. It is maybe for some users kind of a minor disadvantage. Versatility. We've kind of touched on this already. Great search and rescue lights for me, I think. They're not so huge as to be left behind. There's better lights out there, I know. Some of you guys are going to roll in the comments and have great suggestions about, hey, if you really want a bright flashlight, go with this one. You know, I know there's lots of more capable lights out here, but again, we have to kind of strike a balance, in my opinion, at least for the POUs, which are realistic for me and most feasible, I guess, between size and weight. I mean, if size and weight aren't a consideration, then let's have a vehicle-mounted light. Why don't we? Okay. But if we're backpacking in, which how you doing? Nothing fancy does. These are kind of on the upper limit of what I am personally willing to carry. But I get a very capable 100-meter light with multi-modes on it, which is excellent. And I can go to the low mode again to save those batteries. And it will be a long-running, durable, and very capable, if I need it, rescue light, including that strobe function. Extremely versatile. Add into that impact capability with these size of lights. I talked about that already. They are actually defensive tools in and of themselves. Now, I said I was going to show you how to carry these. There's lots of different ways. Again, some guys with a TA21 say, dude, I'm clipping that to my pocket. It's absolutely fine. Rock on. For me, I think it's a little bit too big, and so I'm going to roll in. How about a flashlight pouch from Blackwater? Cost all of $7, dudes. You know, I put my gear links on my channel page, and you guys need to go search them. I tell you, I only put the best manufacturers out there for you guys. Can't snap it. There we go. This is a flashlight pouch by Blackwater. This one is in Ranger Green, and you can see that it fits the TA21 perfectly. MOLLE capable, which means it can ride on your belt just as easily. Here is the tag for that. The M3 large flashlight pouch. These are on clearance. I don't think they make them anymore, so you better run and get them now if you want one. $7? Wow, and Bowtac is still doing their 15% sale off of that, so that's awesome. I just almost knocked the tripod over. That is hilarious. I'm totally leaving that in. TA30, bigger light. You could run it in that, the flashlight pouch. It works just fine. Or, if you want, get one of the Blackwater suppressor pouches. Oh, yeah. Check that. That is awesome. Total coverage, MOLLE capable, low impact color. Boy, that just seems like custom fit. I think this was all of $9.95 at Bowtac. Don't know if they have any more of these. They have some other pouches as well. If you can't find them, maybe you'll run over to Diamondback Tactical and look at their Battle Lab flashlight pouch. It's call number SF as in Sierra Foxtrot Mike 3. $13, and you can get a military discount if you register with them. Okay, so that's how it would carry these lights. And on belt or your tactical loadout system, either light, extremely versatile for what they are. No, they're not the lightest lights around, but these Fenix lights, jumping on to the next talking point, are amassing an excellent track record, at least with me. And I know from my own use. They're durable, they're dependable, they won't fail you when you need them. At least I haven't seen it. That's not to say that something couldn't crop up in the future. Could happen, but Fenix lights are a lot of light for the money. And speaking of money, which one's more expensive? This one right here. That's because you get more modes of illumination. It's more compact, I guess, and you get more with it. You get the clip, the anti-roll bezel, and you can see that was kind of a factor. As I was doing this review, this one's kind of rolling around because it doesn't have that. So a little bit more capable. This one's going to run around $95. Again, I hate to state exact cost, but a little bit more, a little bit less. TA30, around $75. Amazon.com carries both of these lights. At least they have. Maybe you would check at yourcornerstore.com, 47s.com, other good places to order lights. These are great lights, though. So the cost is substantial. It's going to be more than perhaps an EDC light. But remember, we're talking about a different category of light. A search and rescue light, a full-size tactical light. And that is something I haven't mentioned yet. It's, in speaking of versatility, it's good to have a separate full-size, really high-powered flashlight in a lot of different POUs. Okay, you might be searching for someone who's hurt. In the case of one night when I was out searching for a dog that almost got killed in a runaway stream, yeah, I needed a light that night to find that dog, and I fortunately had one. It wasn't as good as these. Wish I would have had them, but it served the purpose. Having a very powerful flashlight with you or in your party when you're in the out of doors, you know, especially when you're far away from civilization, is a smart thing. For the cost you're going to pay, awesome lights. A TA30, TA21. Guys might ask me, well, Nut and Fancy, which one do you prefer? Overall, probably the TA21. It's not going to have the ultimate runtime as a TA30, but I like the additional modes. I like that it's more compact. It still has a strike bezel. It is lighter. You know I'm all about weight, but the TA30 also very capable, and a lot of guys will like the full-size cylinder on the body of the TA30 because they're both very ergonomic for full-size lights. There you have it. Excellent choices, again, from Fenix. Lots of details for you to consider. Thanks for the good ratings. As long as they keep coming, I keep making the vids. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays. Peace. Fenix TA21 maximum beam. Allie the mountain dog on the hike down, chilling out there in the distance. And you can see it lights it up very nicely. Again, the woods are not the best test bed for spill beam. Last suspect hiking down. On the camera down that way up there.
Gives them a frame of reference.
This camera doesn't capture all the details, so that's the problem. Go back to low mode on this thing. That's probably the most useful mode in the out of doors. Tactical Doodle hiking down in his ACU top. He's running a Nightcore D20, which he absolutely loves.